In this video, we're going to take a detailed look at the whiteboarding tool in SmartSuite. I'm Darren from Workflow Optimize, and we help people to streamline their processes by implementing no-code tools like SmartSuite. You can find out more and book a free consultation at workflowoptimize.com. We're going to cover quite a lot in this video, so use the chapters to skip around if you need to, and let's dive in. The whiteboard tool is a feature of the SmartDoc field. Once in a SmartDoc, we use the / command to show a list of features, and then we can scroll down or begin typing whiteboard and select. To increase the visible canvas size, we can go to the menu in the top left corner and select full screen. When you first open the whiteboard, this select tool will be enabled, and the filled arrowhead indicates that. If we select the ellipse tool, we can see that the toolbar changes to reflect this. Once we have a tool selected, we can click and drag on the canvas to create an object. With an object selected, we can hover over the edge of the object and notice the pointer change, and now we can click and drag to move the object. And we can use the handles to resize. You might have noticed that each time I create a new object, it returns to the select mode. If we click on the padlock, our tool will remain selected until we choose a different tool, or click the padlock again to return to select mode. To delete an object, we click the object to select, and then from the sidebar we hit the delete button or use the delete key on our keyboard. We can add standalone text to the whiteboard using the text tool from the menu bar. With any object on the whiteboard, when we select, we will see a white circle floating above it, and if we click, hold and move our mouse, that will rotate the object. Text can be added to an object by double-clicking on the edge of the object. There is a tool for creating arrows, and when we have an arrow or line selected, the circle in the middle can be dragged to curve the line. With the arrow tool selected, if we hover near an object, a grey border appears. And if we create an arrow from there to another object's border, then the arrow remains anchored to those two objects. Text can also be added to arrows or lines. Zooming in or out on the canvas can be done using the plus or minus in the bottom left, or alternatively by holding Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and scrolling your mouse. To move around the canvas, we can use the hand tool by clicking on the canvas and dragging, or depending on your mouse configuration, holding down your mouse wheel and dragging may achieve the same result. Now let's take a look at formatting. Here I'm going to select everything that we've created on our canvas by dragging a box around it. Stroke will change the colour of any lines or text, and we can use one of the basic options or click the furthest right box if we want to get very specific with our colour choice. Background will change the fill colour of the objects, and fill allows you to change the style. And later on we'll cover how to change the canvas background. I think the rest of the formatting options are fairly self-explanatory, and I suggest that you try out and find the style that you like. One thing to note here is that the style changes that I'm applying here will apply to new objects that I create. I think this is a good point at which to save our whiteboard, and to do that we simply hit close to return to the record, and here we can resize the image of the whiteboard inside the SmartDoc field, and we can also change the alignment. And when we're done, remember to save the record. Moving on, let's look at the other items on the toolbar. There is a line tool, a draw tool for freehand, and the erase tool allows us to delete objects. We can also insert images onto our whiteboard. Next, let's talk about layers. Each item that we add to the whiteboard will be on top of previous layers. With an item selected, we can change which layer it's on using these buttons on the sidebar. to move forward one layer at a time, move backward one layer at a time, move to the very front, or move to the very back. And if you're unsure which button does what, then you can hover over to see the tooltip. This is also a good point to show you how you can adjust the object's opacity using the slider on the sidebar. With multiple objects selected, we can align vertically or horizontally. We can also group multiple independent objects. Just select the objects that you'd like to group, and then choose Group from the sidebar. Now the grouped items can be resized and moved together. Holding Control or Command when clicking an object within the group will deep select it, allowing you to make changes to that specific object within the group. To ungroup, simply select the group, then choose Ungroup from the sidebar. One of the additional items on the toolbar is the Frame tool. We can drag a frame around existing objects and then move them together, similar to how we do with a group. Items within the frame can still move independently of each other and can be removed from the frame simply by dragging them out. New objects can be created inside the frame, or existing items can be dragged into the frame. Anything on the canvas can be duplicated, including frames. With the item selected, simply click Duplicate on the sidebar. And you can double-click on a frame's label to change it. If you're a frequent whiteboard user, then the library will save you a ton of time. Select the items that you want to add to your library, and this could even be a frame, and then click the Library button in the top right of the canvas. You will then see an icon with a preview of your selected items underneath a plus symbol. Click that to add the selection to your library. And then the next time you return to the library from any whiteboard in any solution, you will be able to choose that selection from your personal library to add it to your canvas. SmartSuite's help article on the whiteboard feature includes a link to the Excalibur libraries, where you can find a bunch of other libraries that others have shared. For this demo, we'll use the Stick People added by David Hurt. Once you have downloaded the library that you want to use, go to the library in your whiteboard, click the three-dot menu and select Open, and then choose your downloaded library file. Now the imported items will be available to add to the canvas. Next, let's look at how to embed record fields. From the menu in the top left corner, we can select fields from the record that our whiteboard was created in to display them on the whiteboard. Future changes to the values in those fields will be reflected on the whiteboard. Links can be added to an object on the canvas by selecting the object, then clicking the link button on the sidebar and entering the URL. You can also embed websites using the Web Embed tool. Whiteboard users will be able to interact with the embedded site directly from the whiteboard. Okay, final few items to mention. The canvas background color can be changed from the menu in the top left. Also in the menu, we have the option to save the whiteboard to a file outside of SmartSuite and/or open a previously created whiteboard file. The Export tool allows us to create an image file. Undo and Redo live next door to Zoom. I will say that if you're likely to be using the whiteboard tool routinely, then it is well worth becoming familiar with the keyboard shortcuts. Select Help from the top left menu or question mark on your keyboard to see a list of shortcuts. Let me leave you with one final tip which isn't included on the shortcuts list. And that is holding down Shift when creating an ellipse will give you a circle. With the rectangle tool, it will give you a square. Obviously, without holding Shift, you can create an ellipse, but then holding Shift when resizing it will maintain its proportions. I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, please consider subscribing. And if you don't yet have a SmartSuite account, you can create an account for free using the affiliate link in the description. Thank you for watching.